of Knicks Nation? And yes, I'm starting it out early. I believe that Deuce McBride should start. No worries. I will explain it. I know a lot of you guys don't like it. We spoke about all the alternative lineups, and I thought about it some more. And I'm going with Deuce. We also talk about the Christmas Day game. The Christmas Day schedule was announced as we wait for the official NBA schedule to be announced in the next couple of days. Of course, Marcus Morris, former Knick, he settled his debt with the Las Vegas casinos. Kevin McCullough Jr., recently somebody put out some content that wasn't correct 100%. So I'm going to break down the Kevin McCullough quagmire once more. Of course, this time around, we got Smoke of the Week, Word on the Street, and much more on This Week Inside the Knicks. What's up, Knicks Nation? I am your host, Ron Pierre, the objective fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest. And you guys know the vibes, man. So welcome to This Week Inside the Knicks, episode 10 of the 2025 off season. We'll be covering all of the major news topics between August 4th through the 10th. And, dog days of summer. But there's always things to discuss. One thing you would never see me do on this podcast is talk about the 1990s and the 1970s. No, we stay up to date with the Knicks. I cover the Knicks 365, 7 days a week. Give me 50 minutes, I give you the Knicks. Some announcements before we start. My thumb is, to all the people that watch me hoop, it's still a little off, but I think I might give it a go tomorrow. So be on the lookout for the Objective Fan Hoops to return tomorrow. I'm thinking I'm going to give it a go. Hopefully it doesn't backfire. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, the call-up show will be Friday. We did a call-up show this past Friday. And, trying to get the calls back ever since we restarted. So one of the changes we made to the call-up show was, I'll end it earlier. So, and the replay value has been pretty good. So I'm thinking that if we're not getting the calls, we'll keep the call-up show short. I think I might try to sneak in another live this week. I'll let you guys know. But I think that's all for the announcements. I'm about to jump inside research mode. So on this podcast, it's associated with a blog, if you don't know, and it's called thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. Basically, the URL that's right below with the screenshot that's on the screen currently. You go there, and all you got to do is two ways to get there. You click on the 2025 off season because that's where we are right now, and then bam, you'll see episode 10. So all of the news that we discuss on this podcast will be listed here, and we won't be able to cover everything. So if there's anything else that catches your eye, all you have to do is go here, click on episode 10, and you'll be able to see everything. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to start with some of the special highlights. So Carmelo Anthony, we know he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And he basically has announced who will be introducing him into the Hall of Fame. So according to Ian Begley, Allen Iverson and D Wade will be Melo's presenter at the induction ceremony. So salute to Melo, getting a really good cast of people to introduce him and induct him into the Hall of Fame. I think that Carmelo Anthony, did a great job of making a selection here. And also, let's see what else they have here. He says, I was inspired by MJ. I think, hold on, is MJ also? Because I said actually it's Michael Jordan. So I know he got the duo. Oh, so no, Jordan won't be there. Okay, I'm about to say, because I'm reading and I'm like, wait a minute, is Michael Jordan going to be there? No. So he got the duo. But this is what he said. He said, I was inspired by MJ. And this is what he explained in George back in May, not only from a basketball standpoint, But MJ as a Hall of Famer, seeing something in me at 18, 19, saying one day he can be a Hall of Famer. That's major, so I have to give it to them. So, he wants Jordan, but he has Allen Iverson and D Wade. But his dream is to get Jordan. Okay, so salute to Melo for that. Want to give him some kudos. I'm looking forward to that because I remember when Melo came into the league, and I always thought that he was a special player. I was like, man, it was a shame that he got robbed for rookie of the year because they gave it to LeBron James. You know, LeBron's a great player, but that rookie year of Melo's fantastic. Before he came to the Knicks, he made it to the playoffs every single year, something that LeBron James hadn't done. So, you know, salute to Melo. I want to start off there. Then, of course, they made another announcement that the Knicks will be doing something different this year with the New York City Edition jerseys. So what they're going to do, the Knicks will be reviving a modernized version of the 1990s uniforms for the City Edition next season. The classic white New York with the blue side panels is coming back. And this was worn during their 1999 finals run. So I love those jerseys. I love the 90s. I love the mind state. I love where we're going. We're trying to go there where we haven't been in about 26 years, back to the NBA finals. So I love it. And I think that it's a statement that we're trying to make that, yeah, we're trying to recreate and supersede what we did back in 99. But anything short of that is a failure. I love it. So those are special highlights. I see some people just came in the building. Let me give a big time salute to Sherwin, who was here early. He said that I was tripping with the Deuce McBride take. Sherwin, hopefully you still around. That's going to be the flagship topic. We'll definitely get to that. Crim's dad, I see you in the building. Salute to you, Darlene Bryant. Size 9. Size 9, don't cause too much trouble today. And salute to Yuri. Breaking news, TJ saying, I will get to that. I seen that literally happen as I was starting up the show. I'll get to that tweet from me and Begley when I get to the assistant coaches. Let me see. Bodega Wi-Fi. LeBron is no longer protected. Lots of shade thrown to LeBron this week. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on with LeBron, with the Lakers. Will they buy him out? Will they trade him? I don't know. Let's see. You know what? Give me 2 seconds, y'all. I want to put this fan on because it's getting hot. 2 seconds. All right, I'm back. What did I miss? Okay, I got the fan on. So yeah, I'll get to that. So let me keep this show moving. I do want to get into some of the former Knicks birthdays. So we have about 5 Knicks here today. We got to give big time salutes to. I want to give a big time salute to Marty Collins. His birthday was on August 4th. You know, the funny thing is, every time I make reference to the you know, when the Knicks weren't so good, I always say Marty Collins and Ronaldo Boakman. Like they're the symbols of when the Knicks were terrible in that mid-2000s era or whatever. But I still got to give him a big time salute. His tenure was from 2006 to 2008. You already know, once a Knick, always a Knick. Of course, the great Patrick Ewing. He was born August 5th, 1962, currently working with the organization. Of course, his Knicks tenure was 1985 through 2000. Happy birthday, Patrick Ewing. And then I think this is Frank Magiapane. Hopefully I got it right. He was born on August 5th, 1925, way before our time. His Knicks tenure was 1954 to 1955. Listen, to anybody in the chat that was watching basketball between 1954 and 1955, I will buy you a Knick hat, okay? I know none of us go back that far, okay? And that's Fred Kreis. I'm sorry, that's Frank Magiapane. Then you got Fred Kreis, who's born August 6, 1930. He also played back in the day, 1954 through 1955. He played 6 games in the mid. Okay, salute to him. And salute to Rick Bullock. When I first saw Rick Bullock, I was like, Reggie Bullock? Should I even give him a salute? Because I didn't like his rhetoric post his Knicks tenure. But no, this is Rick Bullock. He was also born in the 50s, August 9th, 1954. and he was drafted in 1976 in the 4th round, okay, by the Knicks. So I don't think he played for the Knicks, but still salute him. That's all my Knicks birthdays to the former Knicks. You know how we get down. We always salute them. Once a Knick, always a Knick. And we just added that segment not too long ago, highlighting former player birthdays. So I'm going to jump into the assistant coaches. Now, we did do a show talking about Chris Gent, the call-up show. Make sure you guys check out that show. One thing I want to say about Chris Gent, if you want to hear some details, because I think we did a good job explaining Chris Gent and what he brings to the table. I don't want to revisit that right now, but I do want to touch on this. LeBron's former shot tutor could help unlock Mikal Bridges. So this guy, Chris Gent, was noted for helping LeBron improve his shot back in the Cleveland days. So the logic here is hopefully that he can help Mikal Bridges get back to the 37% from three shooter, right? And also, I think Mikal Bridges, and I know y'all don't want to hear it, and I'm going to talk about it later. I want Deuce to start. But I think that Mikal Bridges playing his rightful position of small forward, I think that that's going to help his game completely, totally, right? Where he can focus on being a creator, a shot creator for himself, instead of having to be a two guard in the system and trying to make plays for others. But the thought process here is that Chris Gent, who helped LeBron, he can help Mikal Bridges. So that's one thing about Chris Gent. Not sure if you guys thought about that, but I wanted to share it. But I also want to touch on what Yuri put in the chat. The Knicks, this just broke this morning. Knicks are hiring TJ Saint as the assistant coach on Mike Brown's staff. League sources told SNY. Saint, head coach of the Pelicans G League team, will aid the NYK on the offensive end. He's viewed in NBA circles as a bright offensive mind. Squadron had G League's top offense in the 23-24 regular season. In addition to coaching with the Pelicans, Saint has coached at the University of Georgia with the Detroit Pistons, at Butler University and Belmont University. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the squad, TJ Saint. If it's true, offense, that's good. So you got two offensive guys. You got Chris Gent, who will be the associate coach. And then you have TJ Saint, who's also another guy who, is an offensive guy. So I think that, like I always say, there's no way to know the metrics of what makes a good assistant coach, because we don't really have any. We only know what people say about, the coaches on their staff. But based on what's reported here, which is all we have, this is a good look, because I want the Knicks to have the #1 offense in basketball. How you do it, you got to have some brilliant basketball minds architecting this thing and making sure that players like Mikal, gets the right opportunities to really work on his shot, and even just plays in the game, wrinkles, little mid-range wrinkles to really maximize what Mikal brings in that area. Towns, utilizing his playmaking ability, right? There's a lot of that can happen on the offensive side of the ball. Brunson Towns two-man game, pick and roll game. I mean, there's a lot that you can bring to the table. And, TJ Saint, salute to you, man. Welcome to the family. And, I'm looking forward to a really good season. I think that we'll have a really good season. And I think we're going to touch on more of that as we go along. So let me see what's going on. That's the new assistant coach, Chris Gent. TJ Saint just this morning announced. Also, the guy from last time, he hasn't signed yet. He's not finalized. The Clippers assistant coach, he's not finalized yet. So we're still waiting on that news. When we get that news, we will report on it. All right. So I'm gonna move into some smoking hot topics, and then I'll look into the chat. So the first topic there's a lot here. I'm not going to go over everything once again. If you want to see all of the news that's here, things that you might have missed, things that you might have saw, all you got to do is go to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, episode 10. Everything we're talking about today is on here. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns, he hasn't had a discussion yet about his contract extension. Of course, he still has 2 years left on his deal, right? And, well, 3 years if you want to include this season. So he signed a 4-year, $220 million contract. And then the last year, of course, is a player's option. So the thought process here would be, you know what? It might be better for me to show you. I'll pull it up. The thought process here to me is that if you want to sign Karl-Anthony Towns now, which I don't think that they would, but the logic there would be to get him to take a discount. That's the logic now, because here's what could happen. If the Knicks win the championship this year, you're going to have to pay Karl-Anthony Towns. You're going to have to pay Brunson when he's up, right? Mikal and OG, thank goodness, they still got some time left on their deals. But if the Knicks win the championship, all the max, because you know more than likely if he's not hurt, he's going to make NBA team, All-NBA team. And once you make the All-NBA team, that qualifies you for the Supermax. No star in this league sacrificed what Brunson sacrificed. Luka is the only other star you can say that might have left money on the table. Besides those two players, everybody else got their money. SGA, who else? Booker. They all got paid. There's no sacrifice whatsoever. So this is why it's not the end of the world, but just to show you Towns' contract. And you know what? I realized that sometimes. Okay. Now you can see the years. So if you look at Karl-Anthony Towns' contract, he has 3 years on his deal if you count this year. Okay. Last year, player option, $61 million. He's eligible to sign the extension now. If you were to sign the extension now, more than likely you'll replace this player option. This will be out of here. And then the terms of the deal will begin here. Okay. And hold on. Let me see if the article talks about it. I think the amount that you can extend him for now would be a 2-year. Let's see. 3 years on his contract. I don't think it has commentary on Towns or the season that he just had. I think that Towns has 3 years, about 160 left on his contract. That's big money. Actually, I think it's more than that, 170, and there will be some challenge to trade that. So, okay, so that's another reason why, basically what the article is saying, that if you don't trade Towns, if you don't extend them, it's easier to trade them, because if you extend them, it's going to be harder to trade them. So there's a lot to this. And because of that fact right there, that's why I don't think that they will extend Towns right now. I think that he still has time on his contract. It's not like Mikal Bridges where this will be the final year of his deal, but trade implications, can occur. Let's say you give Towns the bat. I know they didn't say the amount. Curious to see what that amount would be. Let's say you gave him a 3-year 180 or something like that, right? Gave him a 3-year 180, 3-year 185, 3-year 190. I'm not sure what the exact max is. That's a lot of money. And let's say Towns, God forbid, gets an injury or, he just regresses. It's going to be very hard to trade that contract. So what I think the Knicks are trying to do, they would like to see what happens this year, because this year, to me, is going to be the most important year in Leon Rose's tenure as GM, because this year really shows whether or not his moves will pay off. And anything less than the finals means that this team is just not ready. They're just not, or they're not good enough. And I think that's what you want to avoid. So I'm not sure how you feel about Towns not even having a discussion of an extension. I think that it works on both sides, because if Towns doesn't sign now, Towns could get more money, right? If he balls out, right? On the Knicks end, if Towns doesn't perform well, it makes it harder to trade him, because no one's going to take a guy with 5 years, $300 million on his contract on the books. No one is taking that deal. So just to give some clarity on that, if you want to read this article, you can find it. It's in the smoking hot topic section of the article. I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna look in the chat. So one of the to me, it's hard to find great NBA analysts. There are good ones out there. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying there aren't good ones, but I'm talking about that guys that know the NBA, not just the Lakers and Boston and the Golden State and the Knicks. That's not knowing the NBA. One of the guys I think who's the best, especially former player, is Tim Legler, right? So Tim Legler, right? He said that this is what his exact comment was. I'm going to take the over with the Knicks. The ESPN analyst said on a recent episode of All NBA Podcasts, right? That's a big number. You're talking about them getting 55 to 56 wins because I think the over-under was 50. Let's see. Projections almost universally have them ticker than more than 51 victories. They picked up last year, typically around 53 to 56. That's a high bar. So Legler said he's going to take the over. So Legler's taking over 53 to 56 for the Knicks this year. And this is what he said. That's a lot, but I'm still going to take that over because they're, to me, right, the most known quantity that we have right now, the most known entity in the Eastern Conference, probably besides the Cavs. So that's his take there. He also says, I like Mike Brown a lot. I think he's going to be somebody who connects with these guys. I think they're going to play for him. And I think that he's got a smart mind for the ways that he can clean up some things, right, defensively for this team. I like their starting lineup a lot. I don't like their depth as much. They did add Jordan Clarkson, which is a nice pickup. What he does and how he does it, they're going to have somebody who can put the ball, who they can put the ball in his hands. They didn't have much besides Brunson a year ago. Now they've got another guy they can just put the ball in his hands and let him go, and he can flat out score. I agree with that 100,000%, though I do think Mikal Bridges can make plays for himself, especially in the half court. Maybe not executing the offense from 94 feet, but in the half court, I think Mikal Bridges, you could put the ball in his hands and he could go get you some buckets, especially if you got the scheme set up for him. But if Mikal Bridges is starting out from beyond the three-point line, I think that's not, effective. So if that's what Legler's saying, that a guy who can bring the ball up 94 feet, go get you 20 easily, yeah, then Jordan Clarkson is that guy. Basically, you know what? And salute to my New York Liberty fans out there. Salute to the Lady Liberty. I know they had some injuries, but they did get some support. And the new girl they signed from Europe, can't remember her name, European name, sorry. But salute to them. She had a really good game, right? She almost had a triple-double. So the Liberty, they got the one girl that I felt, even though they won the championship, that they didn't have, or what they didn't have on their team was Natasha Cloud, who is like the female version of Jordan Clarkson. Them getting Jordan Clarkson, to me, is like getting Natasha Cloud. Even though, like, if you rank her ranking in the WNBA to as opposed to where Clarkson is ranked in the NBA, she's way higher. But I'm just saying that style of being able to make plays, dribble, doing a lot as an assassin on the floor, that's what he has. That's what he brings to the table. I salute to Legler. And I didn't do a wins prediction yet because I'm waiting for all the coaches and all of that to be sorted out. And then we're going to do a wins prediction video like we did last summer. And Legler, if Tim Legler, who's a guy who I rate highly for analyzing the NBA, he's one of the top dudes. Ain't too many dudes on his level when it comes to just breaking down NBA basketball. If he's saying that about us, that is saying a lot. That is saying a lot. So if you want to read more about what Tim Legler said, all you got to do, This Week Inside the Knicks, and it's in the smoking hot section of the blog, okay? So I'm going to keep it moving. A couple more topics. And if you just joined, these are the topics we're talking about. I'm going to tell you why I think Deuce McBride should start. Christmas Day game. Marcus Morris settles his debt with the Las Vegas casinos. Kevin McCullough Jr., Quagmire. I'm going to explain it again because some people who should know about that, they clearly don't because they wouldn't report what they would report. I got an interesting smoke of the week this week. Word on the street and much more. Let me see what you guys talking about in the chat. By the way, if you just joined the show, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, hit the like button so more people can, check out the content on the channel. And if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. Let me see what you guys talking about. Size 9. Let me see what size 9. Size 9, hopefully you're not stirring up no trouble in the chat. I think Cat got about 2 more peak years left. Then it's all downhill. But the beauty of Cat decline is that he can always spot up and shoot. Well, I tell you what, size 9, if Cat is on a downward decline, I don't want to pay him $180 million, $190 million, $200 million for 3 years. Salute to Darlene. She says, I like Cloud on the Liberty. She is nice. Oh, my God. Yo, let me tell you something. When I first saw her dribble, because I knew who she was before she came to the Liberty because she played against them in the playoffs last year when she was with Phoenix. But I didn't realize that that was the same girl that we got. Because I'm watching the first game. I'm like, wait a minute. Shorty look mad familiar. I know she's not a rookie, but she's a bona fide bucket. Then I realized that's the girl they got. They got the girl that was with Phoenix. So, yeah, she's a problem. Definitely a problem. She's like the female Jordan Clarkson, or Jordan Clarkson is the male Natasha Clyde. However you want to look at it. She's a problem, though. Let me see. Knicks will be chance. Cat is a non-factor. Knicks will extend them ring or not. Well, Knicks will be champs. Remember, your name. Knicks will be 26 champs. If the Knicks don't make the finals, a lot of change is coming. I'm telling y'all right now, a lot of change is coming. So nothing is set in stone, right? And I don't think that this team stays the same if they don't make it at least. And then some people might say, well, Eastern Conference Finals, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Because next year, and to all you Mitchell Robinson fans, you know that he didn't sign his extension yet. We're still waiting on that. I don't think it's going to come. I think that, listen, if it comes, it comes. But if Mitchell Robinson doesn't get the extension, and for whatever reason, the Knicks are not winning, Mitch might be traded by the deadline. 100% sure. Because now, if they sign Mitch to a deal, remember, they can't trade him for 6 months. I don't know if Leon Rose doesn't want that flexibility. Also, I don't know if Leon Rose doesn't want to trade Mitch. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Melo blew his shot at winning a ring the day he signed the $160 million contract. No, Knicks will be champs. Melo's ring opportunity was blown because they signed Phil Jackson to be the president. Let's see. Did you hear Melo say he and Nene were nearly traded to Lakers for Odom and Bynum? That would have been one of the worst deals in the history. Let's see. Salute to the chat, man. Keep the stuff going. JJ, I see you in the chat too. JJ says, I trade anyone if we don't make the NBA Finals. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that, for one thing I think happens if we don't make it to the finals, I don't think we'll be a second April team next year. Now, you're going to have to cut salary in order to make that declaration possible. And I think that's where we will be next year. Now, maybe everyone doesn't go, but someone is going. You better believe it. I'm telling y'all. Not that I'm trying to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just, you come to this channel because this is level-headed Knicks talk. I don't do the delusional fanboy stuff. I give it to you raw and authentic. I think that we have one of probably the best team in the East. I think it's going to be between us and the Cavs, and the Magic are definitely right there too. So, nothing is guaranteed, but finals, it has to be there. And speaking and speaking of what I'm just talking about, right? Knicks reporter says the quiet part loud about the Mike Brown's future in New York. And this is what we were just talking about. Let me take the topics off the screen. This is what we were just talking about. The expectation isn't for Brown to lead the Knicks to a title in year one. I think anyone that's saying that we have to win the title, not that you don't think we could win. That's two different things. Like Knicks will be champs 25, 26. He thinks we could win. That's fine. But the thought process that we have to win the championship, I don't think is fair. I think saying that we have to make it to the finals, maybe Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's fair, especially for a team that's been to the Eastern Conference Finals, multiple 50-win seasons. You paid all of your core guys, except Mitchell Robinson, if he's a core guy. I don't know if that's what he's considered. The time is definitely now, right? The time is definitely now. And, the goal is to win the championship. But I don't think it's fair to say you have to win the championship this year. We didn't win it last year, nor are we the favorites to win the championship this year, right? I think we're the favorites to win the East, but in terms of winning the championship, I wouldn't go that far. Listen, say what you want about Oklahoma City. I think that they're probably the only team that could honestly break the curse of repeating as champions. Boston had a flawed system. They shoot too many threes. Denver Nuggets lost a lot of their key bench guys, right, that helped them sustain their success when they won their title. Same thing with Milwaukee. They traded Drew Holiday, which, yes, you're getting Dame, but that was a mistake. Who else? Lakers, same thing. Lakers lost their entire team, right? Toronto Raptors lost Kawhi Leonard. So there's reasons why when you go back and you look at all these champions, why they didn't repeat. Oklahoma City Thunder didn't lose nobody. They got the same exact team, the same exact energy, and I think OKC has to be the favorite. They didn't lose nothing, right? And their system is not flawed like Boston's was, right? And then even like when you look at Boston's run, they beat up an injured East. The East this year was survival of the fittest. The most two, fittest teams in the playoffs was the Pacers and the Knicks. So that's why those teams, thrived. And I do believe that the Knicks and the Pacers were the best teams in the East last year, hands down. Boston was flawed. Cleveland had vulnerabilities on the perimeter, even though they did have injuries. The truth remains they could not guard the perimeter. So I think that this is a good read if you guys want to check it out. As my plant getting ready to fall. Leave it like that. Definitely check it out if you want to. Smoking hot Knicks topic section on episode 10. All right. Let me keep it pushing. This to me is one of the most important things I'm gonna talk about today. Marcus Morris pays off debt. Now, what was glaring and what was broadcast on all headlines was Marcus Morris arrested for fraud, right? And scam, and he tried to get away with on the Las Vegas casinos. But this right here, him paying off the debt, is not the same big news, right? In fact, this was the first website, Basketball Insiders, was the first place I've seen this. I'm not saying that ESPN didn't pick it up or the other ones didn't pick it up, but I'm just saying that this right here was not broadcasted as big as the scam and the scandal and the fraud. Clearly, there was, an error on Marcus Morris' part. Now, when he took out the markers, that tallied over $265,000, maybe he didn't have the money to pay it back. That's fair, but him not having the money to pay it back at that time does not make him a scammer, right? So ex-NBA player Marcus Morris is no longer facing theft charges after settling outstanding debts with 2 casinos, right? Marcus Morris wrote bad checks to Las Vegas casinos. The charges stem from $265,000 in checks Marcus Morris wrote in 2024 to the Wynn and to the MGM as part of a gambling line of credit. The checks bounced due to insufficient funds. Okay, he ain't have it. All right. But does that make him a criminal? In May 2024, Morris received $115,000 from MGM Grand Hotel and never paid it back. right? And Marcus Morris, when he spoke on this, he said he didn't even really realize the magnitude of not rectifying this, right? Because he always goes to Vegas and he figured that he will rectify it when he gets the opportunity, but not paying that off is a crime. It is a crime, but let's not paint it like Marcus Morris was out there trying to just scheme and just try to, get over on the casino. That's not what it was. It could be maybe he didn't have the money or he just simply forgot. I got accounts that I don't even check like that. So, before we run off the deep end, and this is why I have problems with these headlines and titles where they kind of condemn a person before the investigation ensues and you actually get the key details and the facts. So salute to Marcus Morris and his brother for having their own YouTube channel. And they went on there and they talked about it. As soon as he got out, he just dropped the clip. I'm not sure. They might have started that channel that day. I don't know. But they told their own narrative. And, when he was speaking, I genuinely believed that he wasn't trying to do this intentionally. He's never been arrested before. I've never been arrested before. So first time he's in this situation. And, but once again, you put a black athlete's face image on an article and you say fraud and scam, and now you damage that person's reputation. And because they are, black guy, tattoos, big, serious guy, even though, I'm not saying that he's not a joke teller, but that could be intimidating. And those guys are always going to be made out to be bad guys. So that's why when I covered this story, because, once a nigga, always a Knick. If you a Knick and you in the news, no matter if you're current or former, I'm going to talk about it. So, but when I was, I said, I'm going to make sure that we cover this fairly and not be on some clickbait type, like we trying to throw the brother under the bus. So I just wanted to let y'all know I followed up with it. I'm not sure how many people did follow up with it, but he settled the debts. He's no longer, being charged with anything. And, good for him. Hopefully ESPN doesn't drop him. I'm still waiting on that news. I'm not sure if that came out. I will look out for that. They shouldn't. It was a mistake. Let me keep it moving. So, talked about Marcus Morris. I want to talk about the Mikal Bridges trade. And this will be a theme going forward, right? This will be a theme going forward. Mikal Bridges traded for the picks, right? So Knicks Mikal Bridges trade just got a whole lot better. Why? Now, forking over 5 first rounders and a 1 swap for Mikal Bridges is a decision many believe will come back to haunt the Knicks. But what if it doesn't? Because the recent ranking of the most valuable traded draft picks suggests it may not. Sam Quinn of CBS Sports recently cobbled together an exhaustive list of first-round selections and swaps currently owed by other teams, with 2 of the picks already conveying, and by the way, those 2 picks that the first 2 picks for Mikal Bridges, Nolan Treya, no, sorry, he's French, sorry. That was the 19th pick. That was the Milwaukee, I think it was a top 4 protected pick, right? And then Ben Saraf was the number 26 pick. That was our pick out of Israel. Sorry, guys. I don't know much about these 2 guys. I'm not saying they're not going to be good, but based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm not tripping off of Mikal Bridges for those 2 guys, right? But look at some of the other rankings for these picks. So out of the list that they compiled, the 2028 first round pick, which would be our own pick, ranked number 51 on the list. The 2027 first round pick, I think this might have been another from another team. Can't remember. Don't care. Either way, we traded it. The 2027 pick. No, I think the 2027 pick is ours, and I think this is just a swap. Okay. So yeah, this is a swap, meaning that we exchange whoever gets the worst pick will be us. That's all that means. The 2027 pick, which is our own pick, is ranked number 48. The 2029 pick, which is also our pick, is ranked number 23. And then the one that is the highest on the traded list, is the number 16 ranked, and that's the 2031 first round pick. Now, listen, I don't give a damn about 2031, right? This is 2025. We trying to win a championship now. If we have to sacrifice a pick from 2031 to win the championship now, I don't really care about that. I'm going to keep it real. Bottom line is, the only pick to me that might be valuable, because I think I think it's safe to say the Knicks will be a playoff team for the next 4 years. Right? I think that's a safe prediction. I don't see us, even if we make changes like blowing up our team, like the Celtics, right? If the Celtics made it to play-in and then made the playoffs, I wouldn't be that surprised, because they still got Jaylen Brown, they still got Derek White, and then oh my God, I'm going to get to the guy who they signed. I'll get to that. Anyway, so they got a decent team. I could see the Celtics play in, making the playoffs, and then next year they get Tatum back. They'll be in the playoffs again. Probably not one of the best teams, but they'll be in the playoffs. I think the same fate will be for the Knicks. So I don't think 2028, 27, and 29, I don't really think that's going to hurt us. Now, 2031 is the one pick that might be something, because it could be possible that our reign will be over and now we just restarting. But another thing you guys don't realize with Mikal Bridges trades and picks, you can always trade for a pick. You got players you can trade. Or I'm pretty sure Mikal Bridges could get you 2 first-round picks, if not definitely 1, and then that will replace this 2031. So hopefully you guys get that. You want to read more on this? This is also in the Smoking Hot Knicks topics. I'm going to keep it moving. Let me look in the chat. Salute to Keith Watkins. I see you, man. In the building, driving, just listening. Greetings from the ATL. Salute to you, brother. Let's see. Size 9 says we could offer OG, Cat, and Bridges for Giannis. No, that's crazy. That's too much. Way too much. First off, that's way too much salary. You can't even do that. That's not a straight up trade. And I don't think it would take that much. I think you probably could do OG and Bridges. Or you could do Towns and like a Deuce or something like that. I don't think all 3 of those guys is needed to get Giannis, especially if he says he wants to come to the Knicks, which I don't think a lot of people who are negatively criticizing Giannis trade, I don't think you guys understand that. Let's see. Knicks will be chance says the players who will get drafted with those picks are currently in 5th grade. That's a fact. But I don't even care about the 2031 pick, because I think we could get that pick back. Bodega Wi-Fi, salute. Where you get the best chopped cheese? I'm out of chopped cheese, guys, so I couldn't tell you that. I don't eat chopped cheese. So much for that New York stereotype. Before I continue, I do want to take the time to show you guys the shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com. I think I'm gonna release some new products soon. So by the time the next any show, because I think I'm doing a sneak in a Wednesday show, especially if something crazy happens this week. But I'm gonna add more products, but it's the same line for now. Captain 11, and also the Bodega Cat stuff. Definitely go to shop.thisweekinsidetheknicks.com and look out for the new products, because there's more products I could offer besides the t-shirts and the mugs. Right now, the mugs is still the best seller though. Definitely go get yourself a mug, man. This is the Bodega Cat mug, okay? Right, saluting Cat. Also, the Cat, this is the #1 seller though. The white Captain 11 mug, fire with the New York City outline inside. And you know what? Speaking of, I forgot to announce this early. So I had a really good discussion over the weekend. Can't let out much now, but I'm working on something. And all I can say is this. My goal is to turn you guys into objective Knicks fans. That's all I can say. So I got some new stuff coming, especially as the season approaches. You're going to see some new product offerings. But even in the shop here, I'm going to be offering some new stuff. So keep an eye out on this shop. Shop.thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. If you go to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, right, I'll do it for you just to show you how easy it is to find the shop. Even if you go to the link that's on the screen down there, all you got to do is click shop. Right? It's right at the top. Click shop, bam, it's going to take you right here. Okay, you could go to theobjectiveknicksfan.com. It's going to take you all to the same places. Okay, I make sure all my websites is set up easily so you can find them. And of course, channel members get a discount on all of the merch you see here. All right, so let me keep it pushing, y'all. Oh, why jump out of research mode? I'm bugging. Let me keep it pushing. So I talked about Marcus Morris, talked about Bridges and the picks. That's all for the Smoking Hot Topics. I'll let you guys check out the rest. There's some more stuff there I wanted to get into, but I'm gonna keep it moving for the sake of time. And let me see where we are. So these are the topics we're talking about if you just joined as well. Deuce should start. I didn't talk about that yet, right? Christmas Day game. Oh, I got to touch on that. I'm gonna touch on the Christmas Day game in a second. Marcus Morris, he settled his debt. I'm going to get into Kevin McCullough Jr., Quagmire again. Smoke of the week, word on the street. So we got a couple of more things left. All right. I'm not really rushing this show. I don't want it to be too long, but we will get to everything that you see on the screen. And there's a couple of more things that's not there that we will also get to just for reference. So the Christmas Day game, right? It was recently announced. And the Knicks, we have a showdown with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, once again, the Knicks, do I got it here? Hold on, me go into my call-up show notebook, because I think I wrote it down there. Okay, so right now, the NBA is in the battle with the NFL. NFL is also doing Christmas Day games. They got 3 games they're putting on Christmas. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of cold-blooded, man. Like, NFL got Thanksgiving. If I'm the NBA, I would put some Thanksgiving games up there. Screw it. If they want to mess with your day, I'm going to mess with their day. Put some Thanksgiving Day games on. If I'm the NBA, that's what I would do. 2026 season, enough of the respect. And I might mess around, and I might put some games on Saturday. Like, I'm talking about big games like Lakers, Warriors, right? I'm talking about big games with big names. I'm putting them on TV. I might even, you know what I might do? On the NBA, I might even have gaps in my schedule. I'm going to have the Knicks blanked out, Lakers blanked out, so that way I could create a game just to mess with the NFL. Because they're trying to take Christmas Day from the NBA. And this is why the Knicks game is so important. I think the NBA did a better job this year in matchups. Knicks, Cavs, 2 best teams in the East. Stop playing with them. Spurs, Thunder, defending champions, SGA, Wemby, Spurs. They kind of in the same region. That game also makes sense to me. Then you got KD with the Houston Rockets versus LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. Great game, big names. That's what it's all about. Then you got Dallas Mavericks with Cooper Flag going up against Steph Curry and the Warriors. And then you got a rematch of, I think that they played in the playoffs last year, right? The T-Wolves and the Nuggets. So you got the T-Wolves and the Nuggets, right? Ant-Man versus Jokic. I love it. I love the lineup. And I love that, you know, the New York Knicks, we're tasked with spearheading the NBA's defense mechanism in terms of games against the NFL. And they're hating self trying to invade our territory. Now, you always had NFL games on Christmas, but you didn't have a lineup like they're trying to do. They got the Chiefs on there, the Broncos on there. I can't remember the exact schedule off the top of the head, but you know, they're trying to come for the NBA's next. So and you know what? Hopefully, the schedule comes out in the next couple of days. I'm also waiting for that schedule too for a lot of reasons that I can't tell you right now, but I'll say this. I hope that this is the first matchup between the Knicks and the Cavaliers. I'm praying that this is the first game of the season. The Knicks and the unless you want to do opening day. I don't mind that too, because you lost the Celtics, right? So I would do Knicks Cavs opening day, right? Because you know the Knicks and Celtics always open up the season. Can't do Knicks I wouldn't do Knicks Celtics right now. I wouldn't even do Knicks Pacers because there's no Halliburton. So I would go Knicks Cavs day 1, first game of the season, set it off like that. Then the second game of the season, December 25th, Christmas Day. Man, salute. I'm looking forward to the game. it's a big deal. Like, yes, last year we played against Wemby. It was fun. It was nice. And the game was a really good game, but that's not a rivalry. I love that the NBA is going to, games that make sense, teams that, are rivals, teams that, had history against each other. I love it. Us and the Spurs don't got no damn history. You got to go back to 1999 to see a meaningful game between the Knicks and the Spurs. So I like it a lot. That's the Christmas Day game. As far as corrections, so I guess this will be a new subject. I mean, this kind of might be a one-off, but anytime I see people making mistakes, and one thing I say about myself, right? I respect journalism, so I wouldn't say outright that I'm a journalist, right? I think that that's a very serious obligation in media, that a podcaster could get away with things that a journalist can't. But I always say I am a fan moonlighting as a journalist because I respect the craft of journalism. I went to school and I took journalism classes, right? I went to St. John's University. I was taught by the great Dick Barnett, right? And, so I understand the process of journalism. And this is the reason why I value sources and source criticism and things of that nature that, a lot of people just don't pay attention to. So I'm trying to get as much new Knicks content as I can for the week. So I did a little bit of research, and I stumbled across this article by Empire Sports Media. Salute to Empire Sports Media. They do a good job for the most part, right? But this article here, to me, there's some errors here. Knicks could land last rookie deal to microwave scorer. Okay. New York Knicks are taking their time to decide how they fill the final spots, right? According to Ian Begley, 24-year-old Kevin McCullough Jr. has emerged as the leading candidate for the position. Knicks are currently operating under the second apron. We're hard capped there, so we can't even cross that line, right? They also retain flexibility to sign one veteran minimum contract and further rounding out their deep roster. Knicks team salary can't exceed the second apron, like I said, hard cap. They have enough money to sign a rookie free agent. And that, to me, seems like Kevin McCullough Jr., okay? One thing I want to say about that. Kevin McCullough Jr. is not a rookie. So if this was Ian Begley, I'm pretty sure he's just said it in error. Or this could have been quoted incorrectly too, Empire Sports. Either way, it's an error. And I'm here to correct the error. Let me explain why Kevin McCullough Jr. is not a rookie. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to go to a source. Not my opinion. When you're correcting something, you should have source. Because you're not going to be the source of anything. So let me zoom in. This is Hoops Rumors, a site that I come here sometimes. Anyway, NBA minimum salaries for 25-26. All right, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. All right, cool. So NBA teams, right, that doesn't have cap space for no mid-level exception, which we don't because we used it on Yabusele, or no biannual exception. We don't got that because we're an apron team, right? We still have the ability to sign a player to a minimum contract, okay? Unless that club is right up against the hard cap, and we're right up against a hard cap, but we still have $3.7 million, and I can show you, right? Just so we could be clear, because I don't want to have to explain this again, okay? $3.7 million in space. That's us, right? Oh, damn. That's us right now. $3.7 million in space, okay? Let me go back to the Hoops Rumors. This is a great explanation. So listen to this, and this is important. Undrafted free agents and second-round picks are often recipients of minimum salary contracts. But there's plenty of veterans who end up settling for the minimum too. Because a player's minimum salary is determined by how much experience he has, many veterans will earn more than twice as much money as a rookie in 25-26 on a minimum salary contract. Listed below are the 2025-26 minimum salary figures sorted by years of experience. If a player spent any time on an NBA club, listen to this. This is important. if a player spent any time on an NBA club active regular season roster in a given season, be it he earned 1 year of experience. So any player with 0 years of experience has not yet made his NBA debut, right? He is a rookie minimum. So look, these are the figures that represent the salary, right? So boom, I think Jordan Clarkson got the 3.3, right? Hold on, just to show you, Jordan Clarkson got the 3.6, sorry, 3.6. Okay, but notice when you look at this, Jordan Clarkson, his base salary is 3.6, but the cap hit is only the 2.2 or the 2.3. I always say 2.2, but it's really 2.3 if you round up. You see that? I'm gonna explain that. I'm gonna explain why this isn't the salary that impacts the salary cap. It's a very important part. And here's the answer. Because the NBA doesn't want teams to avoid signing veteran players in favor of cheaper players. So look, think about it. If I'm the Knicks, right? Why would I spend 3.6 on Clarkson when I could go get a guy who has 1 year experience, 2 year experience for 2.2 million? You see that? See that? All right. Because the NBA doesn't want teams to avoid signing these guys like Jordan Clarkson in favor of cheaper, younger players, the league reimburses clubs who sign veterans with 3 or more years of experience to a 1 year minimum contract. That's why Jordan Clarkson's salary, right, instead of it being 3.6 on the cap, is only 2.2 because the NBA reimbursed the Knicks, and that's why it only affects 2.2 million on the salary cap. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense, because that's something I don't think a lot of people understand. All right, so let me continue. All right, so because Kevin McCullough Jr., he spent time on an NBA club's active regular season roster, he gained 1 year experience. So Kevin McCullough, because he was with the Knicks last year, he played 1 game, scored his first bucket last year. He is considered a player with 1 year experience. Thus, Kevin McCullough is not a rookie. See, this rookie could get the 1.2. 0 years of experience. Kevin McCullough's base salary is $2 million. So to go back to Empire Media, right, and salute to them, right, not trying to knock them, but the information that they propose is just not correct. Damn, where is it? Oh yeah, right here, right? So look, they have enough money to sign rookie free agent, and it seems to me that Kevin McCullough Jr. is the best candidate. No, he's not. Okay? Because here's what happens, and this is the Kevin McCullough quagmire. If you sign Kevin McCullough Jr., he gets the $2 million, right? That will leave you with 1.7. What is the veteran minimum? The veteran minimum is $2 million, and it depends on your experience. Either way, the cap hit will be 2.2. So you do not have enough money to sign Kevin McCullough Jr., Empire Media, okay? You don't have enough money to sign him and sign another veteran, okay? Just want to correct that. I spent a lot of time on Kevin McCullough Jr. It's the Kevin McCullough quagmire, as I call it, because, you know, I do think that Kevin McCullough deserves to make the team. And the way things are set up right now, I could see another team giving him the 1 year minimum. We're hard capped, so if we sign Ben Simmons, we can't match another team that signs him. So this is a very interesting scenario. The best thing we could do for Kevin McCullough is hope and pray that he takes a 2-way deal. I don't know if he does. Don't know who his agent is, but that's one correction I wanted to make. So I'm not sure if Ian Begley, made that mistake, or if they misquoted Ian Begley. Don't know. Either way is a mistake. So that's all for the correction, man. I'm going to keep it moving. Keep it moving. I spent so much time. So when I saw that, I said, you know what? I should talk about that on the pod, because I broke the Kevin McCullough situation down so much that, I don't see how people could think otherwise. But he's not a rookie. he's a 1-year player. Even if he was on a 2-way deal, it doesn't change his status. I'm gonna touch into some free agent stuff, and then I'm gonna get the flagship. So guys, if you just joined, this is where we are right now. Okay. Deuce should start. We're gonna get to that. That's the flagship topic. Christmas Day game. I just discussed it, and how the Knicks are tasked with saving the NBA once again. The Morris, he settled his debt. We talked about that. Just talked about the Kevin McCullough Jr. quagmire correction. I'm gonna get the smoke of the week, word in the street, and much more. So definitely stay tuned, y'all. I'm gonna look into the chat in a second, but as I'm looking into the chat, guys, you got to make sure you smash that like button. Okay, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. I will talk about what you get when you join the channel a little bit later, and I will get to the flagship topic. I know a lot of you guys are here for Deuce McBride. No worry, I will get to that. And yes, I do think he should start. I just want to see what a couple of my people were saying in the chat. Size 9 said we had a center, a small forward, a shooting guard. That guy from the Pacers was working magic for us. We talking about Donnie Wash? Randall, if the Knicks ain't going to sign a point guard to the veteran minimum, then I wouldn't mind bringing McCullough back on the veteran minimum. Thank you, Randall. At least you understand the consequences of signing Kevin McCullough Jr. to the veteran minimum, and you still have to sign another player. See, that's another thing too. And I did the NBA free agency show. If you guys didn't check it out, it was a little while back, but I told you everything explaining the free agency. I talked about the Kevin McCullough Jr. situation. I talked about a lot. That show was very important. In terms of the salary and where we are, NBA rule states that a team must have 14 active players. And I could show you, right? We must have 14 active players. We only have 12. So we have to sign 2 more players. Now, we don't have to start the season with 2 more. We could go a month or 2 without signing that 14th player, and then we could bring somebody on a reduced contract. I think that's what the Knicks may consider doing, especially if they can't convince Kevin McCullough Jr. for whatever reason to take the 2-way deal. Then that might, whatever. Or if they just decide, you know what, let's just go with Kevin McCullough Jr., and then they could still wait and hold out and see what other veterans may be available mid-season and free agency and add them to the team. So there's things that can be done from a flexibility standpoint. CBA is the best thing that ever happened to the NBA. The CBA negotiate that for veteran players. Yeah, I mean, the CBA definitely is important, right? You need unions and you need organization when it comes to unions. My only problem is that, well, the only thing to me that I think the CBA might have dropped the ball in was the aprons, allowing the owners to have the apron scenarios. I think the aprons hurt big market teams and they hurt mid-tier players, because now you see guys like, think about it, Kumunga would have got paid like 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Same thing with Grimes. Same thing with, so because the apron rules are so strict, now those guys that are like $20 million guys, they get in the shaft. They're like, you know what? We'd rather go get a 2nd round pick and we'll pay him like $3, $4 million. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on that you gotta consider. Let's see. Oh, by the way, you know what I should do? Let me look at the top fans. So right now, Size 9 is in the lead, of course. Size 9 is very active in the chat. Salute to Size 9. Number 2 is Buzzer Beater. Number 3 is Nick Shack. Number 4 is BS 10, 258. And then Michael is in the 5th spot. Randall's in the 6th spot. And Crimes Dad, you need to get your weight up. You're only in the 7th spot, Crims Dad. Where are you, Crims Dad? We need more Crims Dad in the building. Oh, J-Tap, I see you. J-Tap says, start Mitch, Deuce too short. This ain't. Okay, yo, J-Tap, I'm getting to that. Hopefully you stick around, J-Tap. J-Tap, salute to J-Tap, channel member, Knicks Tape Madness Discord server, and one of the first channel mods. If you don't like what I say on this show, you know we got a Discord server, and we could be in there all day going back at it. All right? I'm with the Deuce McBride smoke today. Let me continue moving forward. Once again, just joined the stream, this podcast is also associated with a blog called This Week Inside the Knicks. You go to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, you click on the 2025 off season, right? Because that's where we are in. You click on episode 10, and you will be able to see. Oh, hold on. By the way, you click on episode 10, you'll be able to see all the sources that we're reading from. But I also got an article that I wrote. Yeah, it's on the channel. We will get to this. 5 data-driven reasons why Deuce McBride should start for the Knicks. We're going to get to that. Give me a second. I'm going to talk about some free agent stuff before we jump into the flagship topic with Deuce. So, a couple of things, right? I think that the guy to me that's the best for the job that I would sign in free agency is Malcolm Brogdon, right? And this article in Daily Knicks seems to agree with me. I think that he's the best choice. If you guys don't want to start Deuce McBride, but the one, okay, so Deuce has to start. My only problem with this guy is he didn't shoot well last year. He only shot like 28% from 3. I thought that was kind of bad. Crim's, is that, oh, that's a size 9. I thought that was Crim's dad going crazy just now. That's size 9. Okay, cool. But real quickly, that's the only downgrade with him. He wasn't shooting well, and I think we need shooting. But these are the 5 guys that we could sign. Of course, Malcolm Brogdon, that guy, that 6'10 guy who I don't want to name his name. Brogdon, Westbrook, Thomas Bryant would have been interesting, but I think you got Ariel. I don't think we need another big guy, unless it's a power forward. And then Landry Shamet as well. So these are some of the guys that I think these are, realistically, I do think that these are the top 5 people left to sign. But Malcolm Brogdon, I wouldn't mind him. It's just the shooting. I think that's why Malcolm Brogdon's having a hard time, is because he didn't shoot well last year, right? And he's getting older, and it's kind of a regression, right? I don't know. But I do want to say this. Number 3, Chris Boucher. He agreed to a 1-year deal with the Celtics. I was so mad. First off, guys, y'all know I've been talking about this kid all off season, right? I thought that maybe he didn't want to sign for the minimum. So that's why he didn't get a deal yet. Clearly, he got the minimum deal. Maybe it was opportunity. I don't know. But I did do an unfiltered thought on this, channel members. If you didn't check out the unfiltered thought, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I was upset. I'm just going to say I was mad that the Celtics, especially the Celtics, he could have went to Minnesota or something like that. He goes to the Celtics, man. I was really mad at that. I feel like that right there, I'm not going to say it's going to come back to haunt us, but yeah, I didn't like it. Let me see. So because the Knicks seem to be looking for guards, point guards or guards, this could leave an opportunity for Pacome Dadier or even a Kevin McCullough Jr., I think Kevin McCullough Jr. is safe to say he might be a small forward in the league. But guys that could play the power forward, small forward position, God forbid we get an injury. But if we do get an injury, this kid right here, Pacome Dadier, might be the answer. I'm going to touch a little bit more on him too in the smoke of the week, but which I got a really interesting one. Definitely stick around for that. Because we don't really have the wing depth like that. Like when you really look at it, you have Hart, OG, Bridges. That's the only wings you got. And there's a good chance that all of those guys may start together. So who do you have off the bench? You got small guards. Home Dadier, 6'8", has good athleticism, shoot the 3 ball, defends. He's one of them French dudes. They all play defense in France. Maybe he should get the look. And the fact that, our free agency, moves that we made hasn't really yielded a player like him. So I think that there may be some opportunities for this kid to get time in the rotation. Definitely check out this article if you're interested in reading more. I just thought that this was an interesting article. Just wanted to give it a brief highlight, if not anything else. Let me see what else on. And then here's another thing that, because like I said, I was fishing for news. Let me just close. Hold on. Let me just close some of these tabs. Got too many. But I was fishing for news because it was kind of weak. But Yahoo Sports, Knicks predicted the trade second best player for pick 6'10" center. I'm like, first off, Towns is the second best player. So what are we talking about? According to this article, it's saying that the Knicks' second best player is OG Anunoby. I'm like, huh? I love OG, but he's not the second best player on the team. But they said that the Miami Heat, this is the trade scenario. Listen to this. Miami Heat receive OG Anunoby. Knicks receive Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Dallas receives Wiggins in a first-round pick. How would you guys feel about this trade? You get Gafford, Washington, Jaime Jaquez Jr. If we didn't have Mitchell Robinson and like we struggled at the 5, I think Daniel Gafford would be a perfect big man for us. He plays off pick and roll really well. He hustles hard, all those things. PJ Washington is a forward. He's a power forward. So he would be, somebody that we could throw at that 4 spot. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is a hack, but he's young and has some potential. I'm going to say this. I don't like the deal. I don't want to trade OG Anunoby unless I'm getting Giannis. But I think because we have a center, PJ Washington, yes, he can play the 4, but I wouldn't say PJ Washington is a pure power forward either. I think that he's really a 3, but they play him at the 4. And Jaime Jaquez Jr. is a hack who disrupted Julius Randle's career with the Knicks. So I don't know about that. And I don't think that OG Anunoby is the second most important player behind Brunson. That's crazy. Karl-Anthony Towns, multiple-time All-NBA All-Star. He is the best center in the Eastern Conference until Joel Embiid shows me that he can walk. I don't see how they have the balls to say that. But once again, Knicks for clicks. This is Knicks for clicks. And I'm mad that I'm mad that I added this to the thing. But, I was looking for interesting stuff. I don't usually use Yahoo News, but I know y'all could tear that apart. You want to read it? It's in Smoking Hot Knicks Topics. I'm going to jump into the flagship topic, though. Just give it a that. J-Tap with the sick emojis. We're trying to not. Knicks will be changed. We're trying to win a title, not a play-in tournament. Forget any trade with Miami. Facts. Miami will never deal with us. They will never trade. I don't even think the Knicks and Miami ever did a trade in the history. I don't think the Knicks and the Heat have ever did a trade together. Because Rowley, he's not going to deal with us unless he's going to fleece us. So I'm gonna jump into the flagship topic. Deuce McBride should start. And I got an article. This is also on This Week Inside the Knicks, okay? And yes, I like to use the AI images, okay? So 5 data-driven reasons why Deuce McBride should start. Knicks are entering a new era under Coach Mike Brown, who's made one thing clear. This team needs to play fast, if not fast, faster. If that's the vision for this team, there's a strong case for Deuce McBride to be inserted into the starting lineup. I'm going to start with my first reason. Okay, I'm not going to spend that much great time here because I could literally turn this into an hour show. We ain't got an hour to be here. But Deuce McBride had the best plus minus in the playoffs. In the 2025 playoffs, he posted the highest plus minus, finishing at plus 33 when he was on the court. The Knicks outscored their opponents more than any other player. This impact stemmed from his defensive tenacity, timely shot making, and ability to fit seamlessly into multiple lineups, right? I would also like to, you know what? This is what I'll do. I'll go to NBA.com. And I want to show y'all something. So Deuce McBride, his defensive rating, he had the best defensive rating out of any rotational player in the playoffs. Let me show you what I'm talking about, because I like to, I could talk all day, but, I like to put it on the screen, man. I like to put it on the screen. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So, no, I could have stayed traditional. So when you look at, gotta go to players. So when you look at plus minus, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry, not plus minus. I wanted to show you defensive rating. I was right. So I'm gonna show you the best defensive rating on the team. Now remember, defensive rating is a great number because it factors in all the defensive elements. But the one thing it doesn't factor in, and this is why you have to watch games, it does not factor in matchups. Deuce McBride on the floor is guarding Halliburton. He's chasing him 94 feet. So in the postseason, Deuce McBride, well, he and Mitchell Robinson, if you want to add Mitch, okay. So he and Mitchell Robinson are 109 defensive rating, right? Now, Landry Shamet had a great defensive rating, but he didn't play as much. He only played 7 minutes a game, and he did play 11 games, but only 7 minutes. Same thing with DeLon Wright. It's hard to really look at their production and really quantify it. Same thing with Campaign. He only played 7 minutes. But when you talk about core rotational pieces, it's very clear that Deuce McBride defensively impacts the ball, and he needs to be on the floor. Also, when you look at on-court, off-court, I'm gonna take the plus minus to another level now. Now we're gonna look at on-court, off-court, and you're gonna see that Deuce McBride has been a plus minus guy all year for the Knicks, not just in the playoffs, right? If you want to go per 100, I mean, how deep do you want to go? We could go deep as you want down this, basketball facts here, right? Stats here. Deuce McBride, this is regular season. His on-court plus minus was 7.5, which was second best behind Campaign. This was in the regular season. His on-off 5.6 also was like top 3, I think. Right? He was tied with Towns. This is regular season. Best on-off on the team. Deuce McBride. Oh, my fault. I'm sorry. I can't see it. Hold on. My bad. Back up one more. Man, it's a little smaller now, but at least you can see the whole screen. Okay, so Deuce McBride was third on-off plus 5.6. On-off means if you have a positive on-off, that means that you greatly impacted your team in a positive manner. If you have a negative on-off, that means that you were a liability to your team while you were on the court. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the playoffs now. So when you look at on-off in the playoffs, right? Deuce McBride 7.6, consistent with what we've seen in the regular season. But once again, Landry Shamet didn't get a lot of time. DeLon Wright didn't get a lot of time. Pacome Dadier only played 2 games in garbage time, right? So none of these guys count. Deuce McBride, of all of the rotational players, has the highest on-court plus minus, right, in the playoffs of rotational players. Same thing with on-off. On-off is the same thing. His on-off was a 11.4. So all of the advanced metrics show Deuce McBride's value when he's on the floor. And I think that it'll be even better if you put him into the starting lineup. Deuce McBride, he just positively impacts the Knicks. Don't blame me. Blame the stats. I'm going to get to the second reason. So number 2, he fits Mike Brown's pace first vision, like we hinted earlier. So even though those Sacramento Kings wasn't necessarily the fastest team in the league, you do see that Mike Brown had those boys playing at a way faster pace. Matter of fact, I remember in 2023 when we first played against the Sacramento Kings, and they blew us out, how fast Sacramento played. It just looked like, it was a track meet, and we just didn't have the right athletes to compete that night. And if that is the goal, right? If he wants to play fast, Deuce McBride, not only can he play fast on the off, Deuce McBride is probably the fastest player on the team. Let's just say it like that. He also pressures the ball 94 feet, something that Mikal Bridges, that's not his strong suit. Love Mikal. Mikal's phenomenal. His strong suit isn't guarding point guards 94 feet. That's something that Deuce McBride can do on a regular basis. So Trae Young, you can't breathe, right? What's the boy from Cleveland? Garland, you can't breathe, right? All of these point guards, you're not going to breathe. Deuce is going to chase you full court. He's going to be in your face, and he brings that element to the starting lineup. So we talk about impact in defense. Deuce McBride, full court ball pressure definitely is a positive impact on defense, right? Quick offense and quick offense reads in transition. We get the rebound, we out. Beat, fast pace, layups, dunks, all of that. And Deuce McBride has some really good posters. He's going to get a lot more posters in this Mike Brown offense, especially if they're running and gunning the way we think they could. He's also a reliable catch and shoot ability, especially early in the possession. He's somebody also, too, that he's not a liability on the floor on either side. He might be the only guy on this team that you can confidently say that about. Not a liability, like on both sides of the ball, he's solid. He's right where you need him. I think he fits in perfectly. He's a low ego guy, giving you some of that Josh Hart mindset. Like, I know I'm the fifth guy. I'm here to make Brunson's life easier, because now Brunson don't got to guard Darius Garland or the other ball handling, playmaking guards, right? I think that if this is the goal, which Mike Brown hinted towards at the Knicks media day, Deuce McBride definitely needs to be somebody who is instituted in the starting lineup. Another thing too, right? About the fast pace, I'm going to show you something. When you look at the Sacramento Kings, and I'm going to pull them up really quickly, the Sacramento Kings, you can see the type of guards that Mike Brown valued. And I think that Deuce McBride fits into that mold 100,000%. And when you look at the Kings 2023-2024, look at the guys, look at the guards that got time. Now, I know Kevin Huerter was a starter because Kevin Huerter, he helped spread the floor in terms of shooting, right? He was their best shooter. But look at some of their guards. De'Aaron Fox, super fast, athletic point guard. Davion Mitchell, another guy who prioritized speed. He was playing 18 minutes a game. This was in 2022-23. Okay? So you see that he had smaller guards in the lineup. Then, of course, you had at the two guard spot, you got Malik Monk, right? Who's not small. He's not a small guard, but decent athleticism. Keon Ellis didn't play yet, right? But even Terrence Davis, another guy, smaller guard who got 13 minutes a game, right? So, you see Mike Brown valuing the small guard. 2024, you see a little bit of the same thing. When you look at the positions, you see De'Aaron Fox, once again, Davion Mitchell, backup point guard, 15 minutes a night, guys that play fast. This is what Mike Brown wants. Of course, Malik Monk, he's the sixth man. Keon Ellis got a little bit more time, but Keon Ellis is another guy that plays fast, right? So Mike Brown values guys who play fast. I think Deuce McBride gives Mike Brown something that he didn't have in Sacramento, or at least he didn't utilize Ellis in those 2 years, the way Ellis is being utilized now. But even now, I don't think Ellis starts because now they got DeRozan and Levine. That's a whole nother topic. The point that I'm saying is that Deuce does everything those guards can do, but he's probably the best defender. Maybe Keon Ellis could give Deuce a run for defense because Keon Ellis is a really good defender, but Deuce is a really good defender. And I think that he just fits the mold of what we need. If you're complaining that the starting lineup defensively wasn't well, and some of you Mitchell Robinson guys say, well, Mitch will positively impact defense. Deuce does the same thing. Deuce had the same defensive rating that Mitch had, but Deuce had more tougher assignments than Mitch. Mitch's toughest assignment, let's keep it real, was Turner when he saw him. Right? Turner, when he saw him, he started the 3 games against Turner. That was Mitch's toughest assignment. Every round, Deuce is going up against Cade. Deuce is going up against Halliburton. Deuce is going up against Derek White, Drew Holiday. Deuce, to me, his 109 defensive rating matters more than Mitch's. And I'm not trying to undermine Mitch. I'm just saying that if you're talking about impact on defense, Deuce McBride impacts defense, and we know he can shoot. Keep it going. Okay, so now here's the only thing that you're going to lose, the rebounds, right? By the way, salute the boat. I got the Bodega Cat shirts in the mist right there. See, go ahead, go get you a Bodega Cat shirt. Anyway, so rebounds. Now, the one thing you lose is rebound. But I think that people confuse rebounding with size. The reason why we lose rebounding is not directly related to the small size. The reason why we lose rebounding is because OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges rebound at a lower clip than what the average, okay, and you can see it here, they rebound at a lower clip than what the average rebounds is for their position. So when OG's at the 4, he's not rebounding up to standard. Mikal Bridges, he's not rebounding up to standard. That not necessarily has anything to do with size. Those guys just don't prioritize rebounding. But maybe if OG Anunoby's going to be the power forward, maybe he works on his boards this year. Mikal, I don't know if he could ever increase his rebounding. If he can get the 5 rebounds, I take it. But if OG can get the 6 somehow and work on his craft, I think I'm willing to take the rebounding trade-off, right? Because we know Josh Hart, he definitely is the X factor. He was averaging, a lot, about 9 rebounds a game. I think this was in the playoffs, though. He averaged 8.8 in the playoffs. Deuce doesn't really give you nothing on the glass. But don't confuse the rebounding trade-off with size. Let me explain why. So when we talk about size, you're talking about Jalen Brunson, not Deuce McBride. Jalen Brunson, no matter who starts, let's throw Mitch into the starting lineup. And Mitch, you in the game. We're going up against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, Brunson still guards Dyson Daniels. And take Mitch out. Let's throw Deuce into the starting lineup. Jalen Brunson is still guarding Dyson Daniels. The argument of size and Deuce is too small, one, has nothing to do with the rebounding. So it's a separate issue. But 2, it has everything to do with Jalen Brunson not being able to guard most point guards. Not being able to, has nothing to do with Deuce. Deuce size is not an impact because Deuce is guarding point guards. Deuce has enough size to guard Garland. Deuce has enough size to guard even Halliburton. Deuce has enough size to guard point guards. That's not the issue. The issue is on Brunson's side. No matter who you start, that's going to be the mismatch. OG, we know, holds his own against anybody in this league besides Pascal Siakam. Okay? Pascal Siakam last year showed that, hey, maybe we need to revisit that OG at the 4 matchup. But besides that, OG did a great job on Giannis. He does a great job on he did a decent job on Randall, even though Randall did have a good game that first time. OG does a decent job on most power forwards in the NBA. Very few power forwards give OG Anunoby trouble. Pascal Siakam, maybe Julius Randle, maybe Giannis if Giannis is going crazy. But I think OG can guard Giannis because Giannis ain't posting up. Giannis starts from the perimeter. If you're going to start on the perimeter against OG Anunoby, that favors OG Anunoby. Ain't too many back-to-the-basket power forwards in basketball. They're not. We could go through the list. Don't got the time. But OG, he'll be fine at the power forward. Mikal is fine at the small forward spot. He can guard most small forwards. Most small forwards are perimeter-centric, right? I just don't want him guarding point guards. And now you got the guy who can really guard point guards, but size is not that. Also, too, since we're talking about Mike Brown, who's the coach, Mike Brown's teams, especially in Sacramento, were not dominant rebounding teams. So this is why I think that Mike Brown may just go with Deuce, because if you look, and this is the 24th season, the Sacramento Kings ranked 12th in rebounds with 44 rebounds a game, right? No priority on the glass. And when you look, here's another key. When you look at their starters, right? You got Keegan Murray. You got Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes gave them 3 rebounds a game this year. Keegan Murray gave them 5.5 rebounds a game. Isn't that similar to Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby? I'm just saying, I see a world where Mike Brown is okay with getting that production from on the glass, because our goal is to have the #1 ranked offense. Something he couldn't do with this Kings team because this Kings team is just not as good as the Knicks. Way better team. Way better starting 5. So the rebounding is not an issue, not in terms of size. Yes, rebounding is an issue on rebounds. You know, we're not going to be as strong as rebounds. But even if I go back to 2023, just to really rub it in, right? I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. The Kings were 20th in rebounds, 42.5. They never prioritized rebounding. So I could see a world where Mike Brown says, all right, we're not going to be as efficient on the glass, but we're going to be the #1 offense in basketball. And we're going to have hopefully a top 10, top 11, top 12 defense. We were top 14 last year. I think Deuce in the starting lineup improves it dramatically. And the difference between Deuce and Mitch is that Deuce does not impact your offense. Mitch into the starting lineup clearly impacts your offense. Let me keep it pushing. So let's get to the 4th reason. Okay, so the 4th reason is improved floor spacing, right? Deuce McBride shot 37.3% from 3 in the playoffs on 3.1 attempts a game, forcing defenders to respect him beyond the arc. While Hart was valuable in many ways and could be left open, even though I think Hart shot well in the playoffs too. But Deuce is a better 3-point shooter than Josh Hart, hands down. That's not even a competition. So, to you Mitchell Robinson guys, I want to put Mitchell Robinson at the 5 with Towns at the 4. You kill your floor spacing. On offense, you'll be going 4 on 5, especially in the half court. Why? Because now think about it, when Mitch sets his pick and roll, right? All I got to do is make sure I'm blocking the roll, the dive. Now, Brunson is an assassin, so you can't give him no space. So if you got to switch that pick and roll, you're going to be in no man's land. But as long as I got the backside covered, that'll prevent Mitchell Robinson from being a threat. So now I can blitz the pick and roll, keep a guy on the backside to take away that Mitchell Robinson role, and now your pick and roll, even though I'm not saying Mitch can't be effective in pick and roll, but what teams did in the postseason, the Brunson, was they blitzed him. Mitchell Robinson hurts your attempt to ward off the blitz, because I'm telling you right now, if Towns and Brunson is running pick and roll, you cannot blitz the pick and roll. I repeat, if Towns and Brunson is running pick and roll, you cannot blitz the pick and roll. If you blitz, first off, everyone is a threat to score with Deuce on the floor. 100%, 1,000%. So now you risk Mikal Bridges open threes, OG Anunoby open threes, more than likely from the corner, and Deuce McBride shooting anywhere. Can't do it. Won't do it. Spacing is something that Towns needs to thrive. Let me give some of you guys, you Mitchell Robinson guys, I think I'm going to irk you guys a little bit today because I think the Mitchell Robinson guys are the number one guys who are opposed to Deuce starting because Deuce takes away from Mitch. Right now, Mitch's future with the team is questioned. We don't even know if Mitchell Robinson has a future with the Knicks. I'm going to keep it real. We don't know that. That's a mystery. Until he signs that contract, it's a 50-50 situation. Will Mitch be here? Will he not be? Will he be traded midseason? Because if he does not sign the extension this offseason, that means that there's doubt. Or it could also mean that the numbers wasn't working, but there's doubt. And that doubt could lead to your boy being traded. So that's why y'all don't want Deuce to start, because you think it's a threat to Mitchell Robinson getting the opportunity. Me personally, if Mitch starts, I'm a cheer for him. I just don't see how Mike Brown is going to get his vision of faster pace with Mitch out. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So now I'm going to give you Mitchell Robinson a history lesson, because the one game we won with the double big lineup, y'all seem to think that the reason why we won the game was because of the double big lineup. And you're incorrect. In that game, I calculated myself. Ask my people in the Discord server. The double big lineup in that win was a -8. The reason why the Knicks won that game is because Towns had 20 in the fourth quarter with Mitchell Robinson on the bench. He did not even come into the game in the fourth quarter. The reason why Towns was able to get 20 points is one, because he always cooks Miles Turner. Indiana had never had an answer for Towns. That's one. Two, Towns had all the spacing in the world. Guess who played a lot of that quarter with him? Deuce McBride. Why? Because now you have the spacing that's needed for Towns to be effective. Whether it's the modern day post up, where you give him the ball from the top of the key, let him cook and take the big man off the dribble and get a dunk or a layup, or whether it's him in the mid post, shooting them long fadeaways, right? Whatever it is, or him shooting them threes. Either way, he has the space to be Towns. Towns is a better center than he was as a power forward. I went through it many of times. I don't want to go through it again. Go watch some prior shows if you want me to break it down. I already broke it down so many times. I have no desires to do it today. Towns at the 5, he's the best center in the East. Towns at the 4, he's a perimeter shooter. You limit a great offensive talent to just shooting threes. He's going to shoot more threes if you put him at the 4. Why? Because there's not going to be no space for him to operate anywhere else. He's going to be shooting them 26-foot threes like KP. Deuce brings the space in. He's efficient from 3. Now you have a lineup of guys that are all efficient from 3. That is the recipe for the best offense in basketball. Even if you start Mitchell Robinson and Towns, you're not going to be the best defense in basketball. 100%. 100%, because you still got Towns. Now he has to guard power forwards. Perimeter-centric power forwards at that. Pascal Siakams. And Julius Randles. And Giannis Antetokounmpos. Now you putting Towns in no man's land, and now you want to see fouls. All I'm gonna do, I'm running pick and roll. If I got a power forward like Giannis, a power forward like Siakam, a power forward like Randall, I'm gonna put Towns in pick and roll all day. And if I got a 2 guard like a Desmond Bane or Donovan Mitchell, I'm gonna put Brunson in that pick and roll. So to me, while you guys think that Mitch brings defense, I'm telling y'all, Deuce brings the same defense, just differently. Because he's on the perimeter with it. Mitch is in the paint with it. Deuce is on the perimeter with it. And he's not going to impact your offense. So if I had to choose offense and defense versus just defense, I'm going to go with the guy who's going to make me better defensively on the perimeter, and he's going to help my offense. Yeah. So let me get to the last reason. And the last reason, I kind of highlighted it: elevated perimeter defense. McBride is the Knicks' top on-the-ball guard defender. That's a fact. No debating that. According to NBA.com player tracking data, he consistently forced contested shots and limited primary ball handlers in the postseason. Pairing McBride and Bridges and Anunoby on the wings gives New York elite perimeter coverage. You want to see Wingstop be Wingstop? Put them on the wing. The reason why Wingstop was not elite defensively is because they were not on the wing. Mikal was on the top, guarding the point of attack, guarding point guards, leaving OG and Anunoby to sometimes be a power forward and then sometimes be a small forward, depending on the matchups. You want Wingstop to be Wingstop? Start Deuce McBride and watch Wingstop defensively be so much better. The Knicks defensively with Deuce will be so much better. The same way defensively with Mitch, the Knicks will be so much better. I can't give you a metric that shows how much better Mitch would be over Deuce. All I have is Mitch's defensive rating, which was hell of impressive, was 109. Deuce McBride's also was the same. But Deuce had tougher matchups. Every night you got Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, Darius Garland, Jalen Suggs. Every night. Tyrese Maxey. Every night. You want to go through the... It's like every team... Hold on, let's do it. Every team in the league... I'm sorry, in the East and the league, but I'm just focused on it. Let's just focus on it. This is what you're going to see every night in the East. You got Darius Garland. You got Drew Holiday or Derrick White. Pick your poison. You got Tyrese Halliburton. You had Dame Lillard before the Bucks let him go. I think the Bucks probably the only team. Who did they sign? They signed... Did they get one of the Joneses? Hold on. Let's see if we can pull it up. I'm not sure who Milwaukee point guard is. I can't remember. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, Gary Harris. Let's see. Yeah. They got Karl-Anthony. Yeah, well, Karl-Anthony could be a problem. I mean, he's not elite, but you know, Karl-Anthony. Milwaukee, you might could get away with a double big lineup. Against the Bucks, I give you the double big lineup because their point guards are kind of weak. Detroit Pistons, you got Cade Cunningham. You got Jalen Suggs and Bane, whoever decides to bring up the ball. Atlanta, you got Trae Young. Chicago Bulls, you got Kobe White, right? Miami Heat, you got Tyler Hero. Toronto Raptors, you got Emmanuel Quickley. Brooklyn Nets, you got Cam Thomas, who's just going to shoot a million shots. You got Tyrese Maxey on the Philadelphia 76ers. You got LaMelo Ball on the Charlotte Hornets. I don't even know who the Wizards got. Who the hell the Wizards got? Oh, they got CJ McCollum. Okay, so look. The only breaks you get in the East is the Washington Wizards and the Milwaukee Bucks. Every other night, you got to guard a point guard that could put 20 on your head. You got to guard a point guard that's prolific on offense. Every night in the Eastern Conference. Why am I concerned about Mitch, where you want to go down the list of centers in the East? Okay, let's do it. So this is my double big people that's worried about Towns defensively, right? So you got Allen, who's a problem. Boston Celtics, who's their center? We don't even know. Indiana Pacers, who's their center? We don't even know. Milwaukee Bucks, they got Turner. Detroit Pistons, they got a young Ivy. Magic, come on, man. The Magic, they got the Carter kid, who's all right. My man from Duke. Salute to Wendell Carter. He did go to Duke, but I'm not worried about Wendell Carter, right? Atlanta Hawks, they do got KP, and they do got my man Okongwu. I think the Bulls still might have Vujicic. Miami Heat got a young boy in Khalil Ware. Not worried about that. Toronto Raptors, Porto's all right. Claxton on the Nets. Embiid if he's there. And center, Charlotte Hornets, they traded all their centers. Washington Wizards, I'm not sure if Sarr plays the 5. Bottom line is, I'm more concerned about point guards than I am centers. There's half the teams got centers that you have to worry about. And even the teams that got the centers you got to worry about, they not putting in work like that. They not. How many all-star centers do you have on the Eastern Conference? You got Allen was an all-star. You got Towns. You got Embiid. That's it. Those are the only all-stars on the East. You only got 3 all-star centers on the East. 3. That's it. How many all-star point guards you got on the East? Damn near every team on the East got a goddamn all-star point guard. So I'm worried about the point guard. Y'all worrying about double big lineup and Towns in the inside. Listen, if I'm doing a great job containing guys on the perimeter, I'm not worried about the inside like that. Because most of these guys don't even play on the inside. It's just drives and threes. That's it. So if I can prevent the drive from happening, what else do I have to really worry about? We know we're going to be prolific on the offensive end. So offensive rebounds isn't the end of the world. Defensive rebounds is the only thing I'm worried about. But if we are getting crushed on the glass, we could always ant Serb and Mitch. So Mitch could always be subbed in. And even if we want to run the idea, salute to Ron from Still Knicks fans that called up on Friday. Even if we say, yo, let's run that idea of, having different lineups. I think that Deuce should start most nights. Then when you go up against Milwaukee, okay, start Mitch. Go up against Cleveland. I'm not sure about Cleveland because Cleveland, you got Garland, Mitchell, and Strus, which is that's a formidable perimeter attack. So I don't know. I think I would rather have Deuce out there. That's if you ask me. But I know I spoke a lot. I know I got to keep it moving. Let me see. I know J-Tap is mad. Those guys got to defend Cap too. That don't matter either. What guards got to defend Cap? What guards got to defend Cap? Are you trying to say that, LaMelo Ball has to play defense? LaMelo Ball is not guarding Cap. Most of those point guards got the same setup we got. Like Trae Young is not guarding Brunson, right? Dyson Daniels is guarding Brunson. So I didn't get that. I didn't get that point, J-Tap. Pacers rated it right until Mitch was going to catch his second win, then forced him to defend something. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Left Mitch at the top of the key, guarding nothing. Guarding nothing time and time again. Pacers expose Mitch for what he truly is. I'm not gonna diss Mitch. I just think that this is I'm not trying to diss Mitch. I'm just trying to show you that I think Deuce McBride is more valuable as a starting guard than Mitch is. If Deuce starts get ready to start looking for a coach. I think if Mitch starts get ready to start looking for a new coach. Because offensively, you're going to be compromised. Your offense is not going to be as good as it was last year. And it probably won't even be, it probably will barely be a top 10 offense with Mitch on the floor. What about putting the ball in the basket? There's a lot of really great rebounding teams that didn't win nothing. But defensively, you can't tell me that Deuce McBride doesn't impact defense. Yeah, okay, size 9. They may be over-emphasizing Mitch. So I guess we're going to throw offensive rebounds out the window. I'm going to keep it real, J-Tap. None of these teams that win championships are prolific offensive rebounders. Usually teams that are prolific offensive rebounders, they can't shoot. Just to keep it, I'm just going to keep it real with you, right? It's really the defensive rebounding side you want to be good at. Offensive rebounding is a plus, but usually that's for guys who can't shoot. J-Tap, we're going to debate. Pat is way better at the 4. J-Tap, I'm calling you out to a Discord server debate. We and J-Tap, you listen, join the channel. Me and J-Tap going to be going at it in the Discord. I'm going to move forward. I do got a smoke of the week. Damn, what happened to the video? So look, my smoke of the week this week. Sorry, I ain't got the video there, but no, I ain't mean to do that. I'm meant to do dog growl, smoke of the week. So my smoke of the week this week, I don't got it on the screen. It is what it is. Maybe the video deserves to be blacked out, okay? But I'm going at Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague, he did a clip. You know, maybe I'll come out of research mode so I can look at the cool background. So Jeff Teague, he had a clip, and once again, Knicks for clicks. Basically, they were trying to say the Knicks are not going to win a championship. Now, I caught this because, you know, sometimes I look for Jeff Teague clips because I like Jeff Teague. You know, I like what he does on his podcast. Because I do feel like out of all of the guys, Jeff Teague does watch basketball, right? Because I feel like most of these NBA guys, they don't watch no basketball, bro, at all. They just making money because they played in the league. And people think that, yo, you played in the league, so that makes you a great analyst, that makes you a great podcaster, that makes you a great this, that, and the third. It doesn't. A lot of these NBA dudes are not good in media. I'm going to keep it real. I don't think we need more than half of them. I think more than half of them need to find a new career path. I wouldn't put Jeff Teague in that box, though, right? I wouldn't put Jeff Teague in that box. I think he's all right. The problem is I'm the fan moonlighting as a journalist. I take this Knicks coverage very seriously. I'm going to keep it real, y'all. You have to be a Knicks insider to really, like, debate points with me because I study this Knicks stuff to a T. If you're not reading every single piece of Knicks article, if you're not watching the games twice, if you're not doing all of that stuff, there's no way you can have a conversation with me about the Knicks because you're just not going to know enough. And Jeff Teague, as great as he is, or as good as he is as a podcaster, and I love his takes, sometimes this take was just terrible. Now, I don't really care. See, I don't do delusional fanboy stuff. I'm not going to defend mediocrity. If the Knicks are bad, I will be the first one to tell you that they're bad. If the Knicks don't got a shot, I'm going to be the first one to tell you that they don't got a shot. I'm not someone who's just going to, oh, yeah, everything the Knicks do is great. No. At first, I wasn't feeling the Coach Tibbs firing, but once I realized why he was fired, yeah, he had to go. Do I feel like it's a risk and a potential setback? Possibly. But I think that Mike Brown is a great replacement. But if something is wrong with the Knicks, I am going to tell you. So I don't care that they said the Knicks ain't going to win the championship. That's not a smoke of the week for me. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It is what it is. It's when you say things that just don't make sense, that's when I got to come for your neck. Like one of the things that they said was the Knicks lack shooting. The Knicks lack shooting. Jeff Teague, and by the way, they had a split panel. So two of the guys on the panel, I don't know who they are. I'm not sure if the other guy who was saying the Knicks can't win. They had another guy saying that the Knicks got a good team, but they just can't win because it's the Knicks. Like that dude, I don't know who he is, but clearly you don't got no substance. If that's going to be your mantra, they're the Knicks. That's why they don't win. I mean, that's not good commentary. That's not good analytics. That's not good. That's not a good way of breaking down the game. They're the Knicks. That's why they don't win. That to me is a lazy ass take. I'm going to keep it real. So you got the one dude with the lazy ass take. The other two guys said that the Knicks are good. They can win. Right? It was a panel of 4. And then Jeff Teague is like, well, they need this. And a couple of things Jeff Teague said, I could see, you know, I think is on point. But when he said that the Knicks lack shooting, I'm like, yeah, bro, you don't really know. You didn't really look, you didn't take the time to really look at what the Knicks really have. Because when you say shooting, are you saying that we don't have three-point shooting? Or are you saying we don't have shooting, period? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Mikal Bridges is the best mid-range shooter in basketball. 100%. He also, I'm not sure if he finished it at this, but he also at one point was number 1 at below the break threes. I know for his career, he dropped down. Mikal Bridges, I got it on the screen. He shot 35%, which is less than what his career number is, oh, my bad. I'm going to show you. Mikal Bridges' career number is 37%. So, yeah, he was 2% below his career number. But from mid-range, when you look at 2-point shots, he shot damn near 60% from 2-point shots. Your boy Josh Hart, J-Tap, because I know you don't like J-Tap. And I forgot to add to that segment that I don't mind if Josh Hart stays in the starting lineup. I don't mind that either. I'm just saying that I'm convinced that Deuce should start. But Josh Hart is also a great 2-point shooter. He's shooting 61% from 2-point shots, right? Mostly drives. But bottom line is he's very efficient from 2-point shots. Now, we know that Josh Hart on the perimeter, 33%. It's not good, but in the playoffs, he shot better. Josh Hart shot 37% in the playoffs, 3 threes a game. So, yeah, y'all can say what y'all want about Josh Hart. He did shoot 37% from 3 in the postseason. I'm not sure if a lot of you guys realize that. And also, because I do the Knicks in 10 show, and oh yeah, next year I think the Knicks in 10 show is going to be a lot better, especially when I come out with this new thing that I'm coming out with. But anyway, that's later stuff. Josh Hart at one point in the regular season was shooting 37% from 3. This was like 30, 40 games in. Josh Hart was shooting well. Then he fell off. So when he say the Knicks lack shooting, you got Mikal, who's the best mid-range shooter. Josh Hart, who's like number 2 in 2-point percentage. OG Anunoby is a really good career corner 3-point shooter. OG Anunoby shot 37% from 3 on 6 attempts. He didn't even mention OG Anunoby's name. I'm gonna say this, y'all. When it comes to content, and I'm not telling you who to watch, try to focus on the people who specialize in areas. When you focus on the people who specialize in areas, they will give you the best takes because they master that area. If you listen to guys that cover so much, their takes are not going to be that good. That's why, to me, Stephen A., as great as he is in terms of just being a sports commentator, a voice in sports, Stephen A. is not great because of his takes. He's great because he's a great communicator and he's a great storyteller. If you can tell the story of sports very well, you will have a job. But when it comes to his reasons why he takes this over there, he's not great at that. He's not great at being like having a point that's more correct than another guy who is just as, on his level. Because he's watching too much sports. You got NBA, you got football, you got baseball, it's just when you cover so much, it's hard to be really good at giving really good takes. Now, what makes Stephen A. good, even in his takes, is the fact that they got a research team. Listen, it's a team at ESPN. These guys ain't up there just coming up with stuff by themselves. They got people giving them stats. It's a team effort. But the point that I'm saying is, on the fly, having a discussion, they're always going to fall short. So this Jeff Teague clip was them talking about Mikal Bridges' extension, and then it led to Knicks ain't going to win the championship. You don't know enough about the Knicks because you make a claim that we don't have shooting. Right? OG Anunoby, like I said, 37% from 3 on 6 attempts. Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brunson's always efficient from 3. He shot 40%, I think, in 2024. Right? But he gave us about 39%, right? 38%. Towns, 42%. And Towns is the best shooting big man in NBA history. Deuce McBride, 37%. right? Jordan Clarkson, I think, shot 40%. Hold up. Let me pull it up. I think Jordan Clarkson shot, hold on, let me see. I'm going to tell you what he shot from three. I can't remember off the top of the head. I know from the field he wasn't the greatest. No, Jordan Clarkson shot 36% and 40% from the field. Not efficient from the field, but 36% from three, I take it. I take that any day. Because now you're looking at around the average, and he shot 6 threes a game. I take that. So Jordan Clarkson give you 36% from three. Deuce giving you 36% from three. Or 37% from three. I think Yabusele, let's look him up. Yabusele's giving you like 37 to 38%. Let's pull up Yabusele. Yabusele last year, 38% from three. Yabusele shot 38% from three on 4 attempts. So Jeff Teague says the Knicks lack shooting. Everybody on the goddamn team can shoot. The only person that can't shoot in the damn rotation is Mitchell Robinson. Everybody else, Yabusele, Jordan Clarkson, even though from the field he wasn't as efficient. He got to improve his efficiency from the field. I agree with that. But from three, he's shooting 36%. I take that. Mikal Bridges needs to improve his three-point shooting, but he's 60% from two-point range. Josh Hart shooting 61% from two-point range. Shot 37% in the playoffs. And the reason why he said the Knicks lack shooting is because they don't have Dante DiVincenzo. That's who they're missing. They're missing Dante DiVincenzo. So if we're missing Dante DiVincenzo, once again, I don't need to knock nobody to boost my point or boost up another player. But if Dante DiVincenzo is this great shooter, right, that we're missing, well, why did he shoot 42% from the field? Yes, he did shoot 39% from three, but he shot 42% from the field. That's slightly better than what Jordan Clarkson gives you. He only averaged 11 points a game. We got like 7 dudes on our team that average more than that. Offense is not a problem with the Knicks. And no disrespect, Dante. I don't think we need you. Would I take Dante back? Of course. But do I need Dante? I think Jordan Clarkson is a better scorer, creator than Dante DiVincenzo. Dante is a better defender. Okay. I think Deuce McBride is just as good defensively as Dante is. If you want to say Dante is a better shooter, okay. But Deuce gave you 10 points on a bad hamstring. Damn near 10 points on the bad hamstring. You don't think Deuce could give you 13 points as a starter? I think he could. He gave me 9 points off the bench on a bad hamstring. Still got JB. Still got Mikal Bridges, who's better than Dante DiVincenzo. That's not even a debate. So what are we talking about when missing Dante DiVincenzo? He need to knock that off. And then, here's the last thing. Like, once again, like, this is why I say, if you really want to watch content, try to watch the guys. So, like, all right, I'm going to give you an example, right? Gil's Arena, even though they dropped the ball a lot, I rather watch Gil's Arena over Nightcap because they focus on basketball. So if I want to hear better basketball takes, I wouldn't go to Nightcap, who talks about everything. I'd rather go to Gil's Arena because they at least focus on the NBA. But focusing on the NBA is hard because it's 30 teams. And you're not going to be able to keep up with all 30 teams. I think what gives me an edge is because, especially during the season, because I cover the Knicks and I also watch the teams they play. So by the time I get to December or January, I watched at least 20 NBA teams. And I can give you some things about those teams and what they do because every time I watch the Knicks play a game, I also watch that team 2 games. So before, like, so if the Knicks is playing the Pacers, I try to watch 2 games, at least 1 condensed game and 1 full game on League Pass. So that way, when I'm doing my game previews, I know who the hell I'm talking about. How many of these former athletes are doing that? So Jeff Teague says the Knicks need a Landry Fields. They need an athletic guy to come off their bench. I do agree. I think that we could have used to sign an athletic wing, even the Chris Boucher kid, right? We could have used a guy who's 6'7", 6'8". I'm not knocking that point, but when he said that we need somebody like Landry Fields, in my mind, that's his homeboy. Because Landry Fields had a really great rookie season and then just, that was it. Done. No, we don't need a Landry Fields on this team. Matter of fact, if I had to look at our bench, right? Let me see if they got the roster, they got the 2026 roster. If I had to look at our bench and what we got on this team, I say Mitchell Robinson's better than Landry Fields. I say Gershon Yabusele. I mean, okay. Maybe we got to see more from Yabusele. But Jordan Clarkson is better than Landry Fields. I'm just saying as a basketball player, and I'm taking Deuce McBride. So I don't need a Landry Fields. If he would have said the Knicks need Trevor Ariza, I would have been like, yeah, that's what we need. Yo, if we had Trevor Ariza like that, that would have been a great take. But because his homeboy is Landry Fields, that's why he dropped Landry Fields' name. Somebody who could catch lobs. I don't remember Landry Fields catching lobs like that. Maybe he did in his rookie year. It's just like when I think Landry Fields, I don't think of a guy who catches lobs and dunks and is super athletic. I look at Trevor Ariza as that guy because he definitely was catching lobs. He played defense. He ran. He did all that stuff. But the real comment, he said that the Knicks bench is weak. The Knicks have a weak bench. And then they said, well, let's read off the names. Oh, well, on their bench, they only got Mitchell Robinson. Oh, yeah, they got Deuce. This is what they said on the show. He said he made a claim. Instead of going to research mode like how I do, let's look at the bench and let's really see if they got a good bench or bad bench. No, he said their bench is weak. Then he said, oh, wait, they got Mitchell Robinson. That's all they got. Oh, no, they got Deuce. Oh, yeah, they got Jordan Clarkson. Then the other dude who said, yeah, the Knicks, they got a good team to win it all. He said, well, that's a great 8. That's a great 8-man rotation. And then Jeff Teague adds, oh, yeah, Gershon's going to play too. Then he says, oh, they got a good team. So because they went into research mode, he caught himself. He caught himself because if they never would have did it, he would have continued down the narrative that the Knicks bench is weak. Clearly, we don't have a weak bench, bro. And the research mode, the chat GBT, all that stuff is going to hold people accountable because now you can't just get on the mic and say what you want and then move forward. We're going to fact check you in real time. And we're just going to add you to the people that's just blowing hot air. You guys just talking. Y'all not really giving informed takes. There was more that they said, but that's the only 3 I'm going to touch on. That's the only 3 I'm going to touch on, man. But yeah, Jeff Teague and them, they wildin', bro. They wildin'. Let me see what you guys talking about in the chat. Salute to, let me see who's the top fans now. Let me see. Size 9 still in the top. Bodega Wi-Fi number 2. Nick Shack number 3. Michael number 4. J-Tap moved into the top 5. And I see you, JJ, at number 6. Let me see what you guys talking about. Salute the Beeman Boys. They stay mad in this Discord. Well, I'm not sure if you're in the Discord, Beeman Boys. Definitely get into the Discord, but you definitely a channel member. Salute to you. We should be okay this season. Yeah, I'm just saying, man. And salute to Yuri. I see you in there. He says they're not an objective pod. Facts. J-Tap says Gil is corny. I can't. J-Tap, I wouldn't say Gil is corny. I would say he's definitely biased. I don't think he's corny. I think he is entertaining. I just think that he does what little research he does. So, because he prepares for the show. Anything beyond that, he'll just start making stuff up. And that's a problem for me. But the rest of those guys he got, like Cheryl Swoops, listen, I'm going to keep it real. Salute to Cheryl Swoops. She's a legend, but she don't watch sports. She don't watch nobody. She don't watch no games. She's on there. She agrees. Every take. Dude, put me on the... Yo, dude. If they put me on that show, bro, I would set that show on fire. Because I pay attention to NBA news, too. I'm not just going to be up there listening to what the guy... Matter of fact, next time y'all watch Gil's Arena and Cheryl Swoops is there, look out for her never answering a question first. She will never answer a question first. And then watch when she answers, she's going to jack the next person's answer. Every time. So, yeah. Talking about the starting five. Size 9 says, okay, I'm bugging. Clarkson, Bridges, or McBride ain't effing with Dante. Okay, Size 9, you wildin', bro. I love you. You got great activity. You always at the top of the charts in terms of the gamification. But dude, Mikal Bridges is a better player than Dante DiVincenzo. He's a better all-around player than Dante. Dante also is not a playmaker for others. He's not. Dante's not that's not his strong suit. And Minnesota learned that early in the year. Because guess what? When they tried to put the ball in Dante's hands, they took it out of his hands and gave it back to Nicola Alexander-Walker. They said Dante is not a point guard. That's why when Dante started with Ant-Man, it didn't work because you need a real point guard to go with Ant-Man. Dante DiVincenzo will never start. I'm not going to say never. More than likely, Dante will not start for the Minnesota Timberwolves because he's not a playmaking guard for others. That's not his strong suit. Dante can defend. He gets a lot of deflections, and he shoots the three. That's it. That's his job. I wouldn't even say, listen, I don't think that Dante is a great or good shot creator for himself. Dante is a spot-up shooter. Mikal is a scorer. He gets buckets. Mikal could get his own shot. He could come off the screen. He could catch and shoot. He's way better independently than Dante at creating offense. 100%. 100%. Dante, I give him the point of attack, but I think Mikal is a great defender all around. Yeah, Dante is talented, but come on, dudes. Let's not jump off the deep end. Let's not jump off. Dante will never. I don't think you would ever do a trade for Dante where you can get any picks, like any first round, maybe just one or two. No, you probably could get one first round pick for Dante. That's it. There will never be a scenario where Dante will get 5 first round picks for him. It would just never happen. Sorry, he's good. I love Dante, but he's not. Stop. And then Jordan Clarkson, I mean, everything on offense to me, besides shooting percentage, like efficiency, I think Clarkson does everything better than Dante except efficiency. But usually when you got guys that create their own shot, they are the ones that are least efficient. Just a la Kobe. Kobe wasn't the most efficient scorer. Kobe was in the mid-40s, sometimes low 40s, when you look at his career and his seasons. So when you create offense, usually your percentage is less. Size 9, you wildin'. Let me see. We got smacked by the top 3-4 teams last season. Okay. But we beat Boston in the playoffs. What are you talking about? Why are we talking about 0-10 when we beat the Celtics in the playoffs? Where are we going? Let me get out of this chat, man. Let me move the show. I know this is an extended podcast. I'm going to try to end it soon, but I had to go in on the smoke of the week on Jeff Teague. I probably will clip that too. I'm going to go into the power rankings. Even though ESPN, they did one last week, and usually we follow ESPN. I just wanted to show you guys another power rankings. This is NBA.com. So right now they got the Cavaliers number 1 and then the Knicks number 2. So everywhere you look, Knicks and Cavs number 1 and 2. Everything is early still. So I don't really, I'm not going to really spend much time on that. As far as the comment of the week, I got two choices here. HRM channel member. I'm gonna go with HRM. Salute to HRM, the great channel member, Knicks Tape Madness Discord server, one of my guys. The difference between Carlisle and Tibbs is that Tibbs doesn't empower everyone. He had favorites, Mike Brown, been with all these great coaches. Hopefully things click this time around. This is a fair take. This is a fair take. I'm trying to see if I could disagree with it to be objective, but honestly, it's hard to argue for Tibbs because Tibbs always had a clique of guys he rocked with on every team. If you were not in the mix, it was very hard to get in the mix, even if you deserved it. I could just think, I don't got to go back to Timberwolves and Chicago. I don't even got to go beyond last season. Look at how last season went. We had an 8-man rotation for a lot of time during the regular season. Not the whole regular season, but we were going 8 guys in like December. What are we doing? You got the young boys, the rookies, right? You know, you had Combe Dadier, Tyler Kolek. Ariel, to me, already was better than Jericho Sims. Why didn't you give him a shot? Combe Dadier, 6'8". So even when you got Precious back, you had Sims, Precious, Campaign. That's really all he was rolling with in the beginning of the year. Why not throw a Combe Dadier in there? You know why? Because Tibbs definitely sticks with the crew. You're not a part of the crew, you don't get to see the floor. And I think that possibly could be a Coach Tibbs flaw. You got to utilize your roster. From what I'm seeing with Mike Brown, he seems to be better with the players, right? Communication-wise, talks to the guys. If you're not in Coach Tibbs' clique, you don't get liked. So, yeah, I agree with that. I would read the other comment, but I do got to keep it moving because it's getting late. I'm going to go into word of the street, y'all. And before I get to word on the street, by the way, if you just joined the pod, this is the wind down, but definitely hit that like button. There's a little bit more to go. I do want to share with you guys the channel before I go into word on the street. What happens when you join the channel? So we got 2 packages, starter Knicks fans, hardcore Knicks fans. I just want to talk about the starter Knicks fan. So me and J-Tap about to get into a debate. J-Tap, don't duck the smoke. We going in. All right? So J-Tap, he's one of the guys in the Discord server. When you join the channel, you get access to see this debate that we're getting ready to have. And this Discord server is a private Discord server. I don't want to deal with trolls. I don't want to deal with people who just want to talk crap. I like to deal with the people who support the channel because those people usually are genuine and they want to have a great conversation. Hadn't had an issue in the Discord yet. We got into some debates, boy, but it never goes crazy. So if you want to be a part of the Objective Knicks Fan Nation and get inside the Discord to extend the conversation with me, it could be, yo, man, I wasn't feeling your Deuce McBride take. It could be anything. All you got to do is join the channel, get inside that Discord server. We're talking Knicks 365, 24/7. We don't stop talking Knicks. I'm not talking about the good old days with Ewing. I'm doing a 2-hour show, which is crazy. Definitely going to wind down, but we're doing a 2-hour show talking about current Knicks stuff, prospective Knicks stuff, future Knicks stuff. So that's one thing you get. You join the channel, you get access to the Discord server. We talk everything, all sports, everything in there, right? We even got a general attack, and that could go anywhere, okay? Now, you don't only get access to the Discord. This is not a $4.99 donation. You supporting the channel. You just want to know. You get content, right? You get access here. So I also do members only live chats. If I do a show Wednesday, that's what that show will be. Usually I'm doing a topic. like the real reason why Coach Tibbs was fired. By the way, that was a great live. Go check that out. Right. I think that's well over 1,000 views. Go check out the why Coach Tibbs was fired. And that chat was a members only live chat. So I try to give the members the opportunity to contribute, even if I'm just zoned in, locked in, just trying to do what I do. Members get priority reply to comments. Like right now, I see Beeman Boys. He just put, not in the click, you get no ticks. Salute to Beeman Boys, right? So he's a member, so I see his star. It makes it easier for me to see his comment. So you always get priority reply to comments. That's on live shows. That's also on all channel content where you can comment on. I'm definitely always looking to make sure I get back to the channel members because you guys support the channel. Also, I have this video, this series called The Unfiltered Thought. I really, I did one video recently talking about Chris Boucher and the fact that he didn't get, he went to the ops in Boston. And I'm like, man, yo, why didn't we sign him? So yeah, I had an unfiltered thought on that. And, usually I do content based on things that's not necessarily YouTube appropriate. I think I might even do some live unfiltered thoughts. Still working on that. Either way, it will be members only content. Members also get shouted out, and members also get discounts on the merch that I showed you earlier, the Bodega Cat shirt that's behind me, the mugs that's right here. So members get access to all of those things. And now, without further ado, hopefully you guys consider joining the channel, especially if you've been subscribed. I'm going to move forward to word on the street. And I just got a couple of polls today. I'm going to be more active with the surveys next week. I just was really busy this past week trying to make some things happen. But I'm going to start here. Was the Knicks' latest acquisition, Guerschon Yabusele, the steal of the all-season free agent signings? I'm going to say I don't know. 76% of you guys said yes. 16% said no. The reason why I said I don't know is because I think that you need more time to really see what's going to happen. So let's see what happens, right? I think he's one of the better free agent signings, but will he be the steal? I don't know. If the Knicks sign that 6'10 dude, whose first name just so happens to be Ben, should they put him in the starting lineup to replace Josh Hart? I'm going to say hell no. 442 votes. 81% said hell no. By the way, you can still vote for these. These are in the comment section. In the post section, if you hadn't voted for these already. Could Mikal Bridges' new contract extension with the Knicks be considered an overpayment? 328 votes. I'm going to say no, the deal was on the money. 63% said no, the deal was on the money. 14% said yes, Mikal's not worth that. 21% said doesn't matter, stop pocket watching. Only reason why I put that for fun, but I do feel like if you feel like someone's getting paid too much, I think that, you should just, that's kind of like pocket watching. I don't think you should ever admit someone got overpaid, right? I just, I don't know. I don't like it. But I think the deal was on the money though, nonetheless. And then 2% said, I don't know. So that's all for Word on the Street. Do want to thank you guys for rocking out with me. This was a long one. Sorry. I guess I have to timestamp this. I definitely have. I haven't been timestamping recently, but I will timestamp this to make the replay a lot easier. Salute to Bodega. He said Brown isn't playing the kids unless Leon makes him. Well, the difference, but Bodega Wi-Fi, the difference between this time with Brown and Tibbs is that we have a better bench this time, and we still didn't sign that other guy. So you might get a Ben Simmons, or you might get a Malcolm Brogdon. How are you going to play the kids over those guys? So we didn't have that last year. Last year, we started the season without Mitch, without Precious, without Landry Shamet. You only had Deuce McBride and Jericho Sims, right? And so why didn't he play some of the other guys more? But let's see. So I want to give a big time salute on the way out. Let me not read. But Knicks Yak, salute to Knicks Yak, salutes to Size 9, Nick Apocalypse. Salute to the channel members, Beeman Boys, Yuri made an appearance, J-Tab, Knicks will be champs 25-26. I'm not sure if HRM was there. I know Crim's dad was there. Salute to all the channel members. If I did miss you, sorry. Salute to HRM if you were in the building. I'm going to go down the gamification list. Salute to Bodega Wi-Fi, JJ, right? Salute to Michael, Knicks Yak, once again, J-Tap, Luke Skywalker, or Luke's Walker, or is that Sky? I'm not sure what that is. Lucky Walker. Salute to Randu, BS10 258, Buzzer Beater, of course, Beeman Boys, Darlene Bryant. Salute to Darlene Bryant, Old Man Knicks fan 518. Who else? Oh yeah, HRM was in the building. Big time salute to you, my brother. Knicks Tape Madness Discord server channel member Wayne Peterson, Drip Moore, Just Knicks. Oh, JJP NYC. I gotta do that. Drop that clip, JJ. If you're listening, I will drop it. Kareem Grant, Mac, and Fritz was in the building. Salute to all you guys. Everybody I missed, I do appreciate all you guys. Be on the lookout, channel members. Hooping tomorrow. I'm probably like 90% sure. And then Wednesday, I might do another live. So be on the lookout. And I'm going to have clips in between all of this. So that's all I got for you on this video. And until next time, as always, it's let's go.